Hi everybody, it's Grania here from Numbers for Success, and as you can see I'm in my car. It's October 19th 2019 and I'm driving across the country to do a mind-body experience show tomorrow in beautiful Galway in Salthill. So as I'm on my way, I just stopped off to pick up some provisions, and as I was driving I just felt this really strong desire to just talk and record this. I've been listening to a podcast by a young man called Blind Boy. He's an Irish guy from Limerick. Brilliant. My kids introduced me to him, and he's got so much to say, and he says in such a quirky way. So I'm just kind of drawn to it. Now, I guess what I wanted to talk about is, in my experience in the work I've been doing with clients, certainly in the last year, is the absolute rise, and I could almost say epidemic proportion in the number of people coming to me who are going through challenges around narcissistic behaviour. Now, as you can imagine, it's not the narcissistic people who are coming to me, it's the empaths who are the ones. So I very much call the whole relationship between the narcissist and the empath the toxic dance. I've written extensively on it, and maybe someday I will actually publish the poems, because some of them are dark. But it was from my own personal experience of being in a relationship with someone with certainly a lot of the narcissistic traits, and it was the greatest lesson I've actually ever learnt. I didn't certainly believe that I would have to go through what I had to go through, but it's all been part of a much greater learning, to the point that I can help many people now. So I just wanted to do this very short video, just in terms of, the narcissist. It's a word that's bandied about, and I guess it's usually equated to the Greek story and the fables about narcissism and the narcissistic person who was looking in the water and saw the reflection and all that. But it's a lot more than that. It's something that has become. It's a word that's been bandied about a lot, but a lot of people don't really understand it until you've actually experienced what it's like to be in a relationship with a person, or have a parent or a brother or sister, or even a co-worker or a boss. I actually went through it. One of my many professions before I've done this work was working in a so-called holistic sort of vibrational place, but my manager was a 110% blown narcissist who made everyone's life difficulty, and she was a very deeply unhappy person and created this very false sergeant major type of self, which certainly didn't equate to the energy of the place and caused great anguish for a lot of us, including myself. Again, one of my great teachers. So the narcissist, to sort of explain what it is, the narcissist is somebody who is deeply, deeply wounded and fragile. And to the point that generally it's due to trauma in early childhood. It's due to their needs not being met, their basic needs not being met. And a lot of the time, there's so many different scenarios, but ultimately they are people who are so fragile inside, so wounded, that they have to create another world, per se. They create a false self. So they become the grandiosity, the demands, a lot of them are very vain, and love to go around like the proverbial peacock. They tend to be people who are very aware and can be very intelligent people, and they come from all walks of life. It's nothing to do with gender or background or socioeconomic, none of that. They tend to be people who have been very badly wounded in some way. Now you might say, well, surely all of us have a story. Yes, of course, but not all of us have to go to the length and breadth of literally creating a false self. Like, we can all create in scenarios, maybe act as if, as they say, but this is deeply, deeply wounded to the point that they don't know who they are. They just create this scenario. This is who I am. So therefore, when they go into an intimate relationship, they will love bomb you. They will tell you, you are the person they've been waiting for. You're their soulmate. You're the person who can make their world a better place to be. They find out all the information about you, especially the intimate details, and that can be used as ammunition. at the very end of the relationship. Now, this again is very general, but it's what I'm seeing constantly in my work, constantly. So, and having experienced it myself, I know what it is. I've experienced it on the other end as being the person who was affected by an extremely challenging relationship. And so therefore, by being aware of these things, therefore you can bring that information and become aware of how to deal with it. Now, numerologist, I was going to say, narcissist will usually not take responsibility for the behavior. As far as they're concerned, they're doing nothing wrong, and it's what it is very much about your fault. They tend to project a lot of their own stuff onto the person they're with. So if there's an issue, we say, around body image that they don't like about themselves, as my mom used to say, you can bet your bottom dollar they're going to project that onto you. Why don't you lose some weight? Why don't you do your hair better? Why don't you try and go to the gym more? Because they're projecting their stuff. Remember, it's a false self they've created, so they don't know who they are. Sorry, there's a car pulling out there. And likewise, when you are in a relationship with a narcissist, you can be guaranteed that they may tend to try and isolate you because they need adulation, because they need to be put up on a pedestal. They want to be the number one. No one else, your children, your parents, your dog, your cat, your granny. No, they want you to themselves, and certainly to meet their needs. Not about you, it's about them. It's always about them. It's the grandiosity. It's the always having to look good, never going outside the door without the makeup on, the hair done, even the men, the hair gelled, smelling nice, which is good. Like, we all need to self-care, but to the point that it's obsessive. Okay. Now, the biggest thing as well is, you may, as the empath, in the beginning, the love bombing phase, where you can do no wrong. They say your name every second or third word when they're talking to somebody else. They have your photograph everywhere. They adore you. And then slowly, it can be different for everyone, right? I've seen this constantly through the years. It can start off initially being a smart remark. It can also be a little put down. Or why would you ever do that? Or why do you always say those things when we're in company? And then slowly, it's like what I used to call it, the woodpecker. It's like the pecking starts. And when that pecking starts, you don't know unless you really understand who you are, that you're in for a time of challenges, okay? And it's slowly is to bring you down to their level, to bring you down to a place where they can literally, because deep down, remember, they are fake. They're fake. So what they're doing is they're bringing you to where they can kind of relate to, and they'll do everything in their power. They'll try and turn you against your family. They'll try and turn you against your friends. They'll try and turn you against yourself. And the biggest challenge I find with people I'm dealing with narcissistic relationships currently is the confusion. They are people who come to me, they don't know, as I used to say in Ireland, their arse on their elbow. That's what we say. So they don't know who they are. They're confused. People call it the gaslighting, where basically you're drugged. You're almost drugged on walking on eggshells. If I say this, will she react that way? If I say that, will he call me names? And then it's just this constant minefield of craziness. Julia Cameron in The Artist's Way used to call it the crazy makers. Now we call it narcissistic behavior. Now there's all different types of behaviors in psychology, but for the purpose of this very short video, which I had to stop and just talk about. So I guess, if you're in a relationship right now, if you're listening to this and you feel you're in a narcissistic relationship, please get some support and help. Leave a comment below. If I can help you, I will. Much love, and you're loved, and I'll come back next week with another video.